Once upon a time, in a small old village nestled beside a babbling brook and surrounded by rolling green hills, there lived a very important person named Mayor Mildred. Mayor Mildred wasn't just important because she wore a fancy hat and made all the village rules. She was important because of her deep, abiding love for cheese. Not just any cheese, mind you, but a truly magnificent, giant, round wheel of special, extra smelly cheese that was made only once a year by the village's oldest cheesemaker. This cheese was so incredibly important, so precious, that it was kept under lock and key in a sturdy stone shed right in the very center of the bustling village square. Everyone knew about the cheese, and everyone looked forward to the annual cheese festival where it would be shared. One particularly bright and sunny morning, just as the roosters were crowing and the smell of fresh bread was filling the air, the entire village was jolted awake by a sound that made their teeth ache. Mayor Mildred's loud, unhappy shouts. My cheese! Oh, my magnificent, marvelous, incredibly aromatic cheese! It's gone! Vanished! Poof! The sturdy shed door, usually secured with a heavy iron lock, was now wide open, swinging gently in the morning breeze, and the giant cheese wheel was nowhere to be seen. A wave of panic, thick and sticky like warm honey, spread to the village. Who in their right mind would dare to steal the mayor's most prized possession? And, perhaps even more pressing, how on earth would they explain this disaster to the hungry villagers who had been dreaming of that cheese for an entire year, eagerly anticipating the upcoming annual cheese festival? The distraught mayor, wringing her hands and pacing frantically, immediately called upon the village's only detective, a rather peculiar and perpetually sleepy man named Bartholomew Barty Bumble. Barty was known far and wide, not for his sharp wit or lightning fast deductions, but mostly for his impressive ability to fall asleep anywhere, at any time, often mid sentence. Despite this, he was the only detective they had, so he was their only hope. Barty slowly rubbed his eyes, let out a cavernous yawn that seemed to last forever, and then, with a profound sigh, began his investigation. This investigation primarily involved sniffing the crisp morning air for any unusual scents, occasionally bumping into things, and making a valiant effort to stay awake long enough to actually look for clues. Barty, despite his battle against slumber, noticed a crucial clue, a delicate trail of tiny golden yellow cheesy crumbs leading directly out of the shed and down the main cobbled road. Aha! He mumbled. The thief must have been a very messy eater. He followed the crumbs, which led him past the baker shop, then the tailor's, and finally out of the village into the whispering woods. As he ventured deeper, the crumbs grew larger, and he began to hear a faint, happy, munching sound. He crept forward, parting the thick bushes, and peered into a sun-dappled clearing. What he saw made his jaw drop. There, sitting with an air of profound contentment, was a very large, incredibly fluffy sheep. And next to this sheep, almost entirely eaten, was what remained of Mayor Mildred's giant cheese wheel. The sheep, noticing Barty, slowly looked up and let out a soft, happy baa. Barty stared. You ate the mayor's cheese? He whispered, completely dumbfounded. The sheep, whose name was Daisy, according to a tag on her ear, just blinked her big, innocent eyes and nudged a tiny, cheesy piece towards him with her wet nose. Barty Bumble simply couldn't believe his eyes. A sheep, a fluffy, innocent looking, yet undeniably cheese loving and cheese stealing sheep. He slowly walked into the clearing, trying his best to stifle a laugh. Daisy, he said, shaking his head, you've caused quite a stir back in the village. Daisy responded with another contented bah. Barty knew he couldn't punish a sheep for loving cheese too much, so he gathered the few remaining chunks of the special cheese and began his thoughtful journey back to the village. When he finally returned and with a straight face recounted the entire unbelievable tale to Mayor Mildred and the assembled villagers, a profound silence fell over the square. A sheep? Mayor Mildred finally managed to gasp, her eyes wide. Indeed, Mayor, Barty confirmed. Her name is Daisy, and she seems to have a particular fondness for your annual cheese. Then slowly at first, a giggle broke out followed by another until the entire village square erupted into a cacophony of hearty laughter. Mayor Mildred, despite her initial sadness over her beloved cheese, couldn't help but join in. Well, I suppose that's one way to have a cheese festival, she chuckled. The annual cheese festival still went ahead, of course, though it featured much smaller pieces of cheese. And from that memorable day forward, Daisy the sheep became an instant village legend, forever known as the Great Cheese Thief of Whispering Woods. As for Barty Bumble, the sleepy detective, he was unexpectedly hailed as a hero, mostly for his uncanny ability to uncover the most hilariously unexpected culprit in the entire history of the village.